Senator Eric Schmitt is from the great state of Missouri. He's on the committee today that was overseeing the nomination of Pete Hegseth. Senator, how are you?
I'm good, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. You know, I watched a lot of that hearing, and your great questions and his great answers as well, and I felt he did a superb job. I think the Republicans are going to rally around him, don't you?
Yeah, I think he's in really good shape. I don't think he's going to get a single no vote that I'm aware of. I think he's going to come out of committee quickly, and I think he'll pass on the Senate floor. And I think that national security team, getting that in place early for President Trump is really important, given all the challenges that we have. And as I focus on my questions, I mean, this DEI stuff is poison, Mark. You know it. You've been talking about it. It has no place in our military. And I just gave some examples about how in the Air Force Academy you couldn't say mom and dad, and how they had racial quotas for officers and dividing the room by race. This stuff is nuts. It has no place in our military. I think Pete was very clear. He's going to root that stuff out, focus on China, and on procurement reform. We need to do better in the Pentagon, and I think he's the kind of change agent that President Trump wanted, and we should confirm.
Yeah, and I can understand why the enshrined over there at the Pentagon at the top levels and their friends in Congress would not want Pete Hegseth, because he's very much the reformist. You know, I'm pro-defense. You're pro-defense. I'm pro the men and women in the military. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the mismanagement of this massive agency, the wrong policies when it comes to, well, look at it. Recruitment's way down. We now have the second largest Navy behind the Communist Chinese. Mm-hmm. The budget is flat. I mean, this isn't the way to run a military, is it, Senator?
It's not. And I think you look at the one consistent electrical cord over President Trump's picks is they're all reformers. And the election cycle to me was way more about, you know, much less about Republican versus Democrat than disruptor versus establishment. And that's what people voted for. And we need that in the Pentagon. I agree with you. Look, we need to be strong on national defense. I think we're entering a new phase of American realism ushered in by President Trump, which is what we need. What are the core national interests of the United States of America? But to your point, China has a bigger Navy than we have now. Not a better Navy, but a bigger Navy. They have built islands in the South China Sea. They're in space for real. We're in a competition that's going to define the 21st century. We can't keep doing things the way permanent Washington has wanted to do things for such a long time. And so they get used to these picks, Mark, that are out of these think tanks or kind of permanent Washington cocktail parties, and Pete's not one of those guys. I think that's a good thing. I think the American people want something different. They want someone who's going to flip over the tables a little bit and say, where's our innovation? Where's our ingenuity? Where's our competition? We can do this better, and we need that sorely, because Republicans and Democrats talk about this all the time, but nobody actually goes and does it, and I think President Trump wants to do that.
You know, Senator, some of the questioning was really repulsive. When I watched this, Tim Kaine, he wanted to know about the divorces. He wanted to know if there were confidentiality agreements. He wanted to know if he would agree to make them available, if the ex-wives would make them available. This is real gutter stuff. But, you know, for them, they think it's worked in the past, but it hasn't. It didn't stop Clarence Thomas. It didn't stop Kavanaugh. It's not going to stop Hegseth, although, you know, they've used it to stop others as well. But this is, what else do they have but the gutter?
It's all they have. It's all they have left. And I think they think it worked, and it's not 2020 anymore, and people are over this stuff. I think that, you know, the Democrats are effectively a party, you know, it's sort of they're guided by this woke ideology, but it's really about power and control. COVID, in many ways, I think for the American people, Mark, exposed really what the Democrats are all about. It revealed. Power doesn't necessarily corrupt. It reveals. And the Democrats, with the wokeness or the COVID tyranny, were totally exposed. And I think the American people rejected all that. And they saw the lawfare, right? This is all they had. Whether it's Jack Smith or Alvin Bragg, it's all they have left. And the American people want something different than that. And the Republicans, I think, are offering, through President Trump, this broad-based, multi-ethnic, working-class party now. We have a real opportunity to change this dynamic. And I think this stuff, these attacks they had today, are just they're old and they're tired. They're not effective. They didn't really land a punch today. They tried. It was dramatic. They got their sound bites. They probably raised some money on it. But that's it. Pete Hegseth is going to be the Secretary of Defense, And I think all these nominees are going to be part of President Trump's team. And it's again, this disruptor mentality we absolutely need to have in Washington.
And they're going to try to pull the same thing with Kash Patel in a different way, but nonetheless, try and take him out. They think this is low-hanging fruit, and really the goal is to damage the brand-new incoming Trump presidency, isn't it? It's really intended to chip away at him and his agenda.
Yeah, and he's got look at the Emerson had a poll today about his fave unfave. It's record high. He swept the battleground states. I spent a lot of time on the campaign trail with him, including in the last weekend, traveling around. There's just a different energy, Mark. There's just Trump flags up in counties that they weren't up before. It's counterculture now. I think it's kind of fun. I've been a conservative my whole life, and I was always a little envious of the liberals in the sense that they were these defenders of free speech, and they got credit for it. They don't believe in that anymore. And so when I was Attorney General of Missouri, we brought that Missouri versus Biden lawsuit and exposed this vast
great lawsuit
enterprise. Yeah, and it's like they don't believe in this. It's all about power and control. So we have a huge opportunity now, whether it's on free speech or whether it's about these things that we're talking about, to reclaim the mantle as the party that's fighting for like regular people. And I think that hearing today was instructive. Pete Hegseth is going to come in with a soldier's mentality, a warrior ethos that will replace what we've seen the ethos of the Democrats, which has been one of weakness and wokeness over the last 4 years.
Senator Eric Schmitt. By the way, Senator Schmitt, you're a tall guy. How tall are you?
I'm 6'6", Mark. I think I'm the tallest guy in the Senate. Fetterman and I did a back-to-back, and I think I got him by half inch. So.
Really? Because he used to pretend to be 6'10", I think. But nonetheless,
well, he's listed as 6'8". I think it's bogus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, we'll hold that against him. If he's ever up for anything, we'll have to question him for that. What do you think of the Senate? You were the Attorney General. You come into this place. You got all these other people there. I mean, it's too early probably to have a complete assessment, but you're a fairly new senator. What do you think?
I love it. It's an incredible opportunity. I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood. My dad worked 7 days a week in the midnight shift. I never would have imagined that I'd be representing, my state in the United States Senate. And so I got into politics because, my son had a lot of medical challenges and I wanted to make a difference. And, being Attorney General, we had a lot of important fights. We had the vaccine mandate case we won at the Supreme Court. We had the student loan debt forgiveness case we won at the Supreme Court. We had the censorship case, Missouri versus Biden, and Roy Blunt retired and decided to make a run. And so just trying to make a difference. I just take it with a lot of humility. But I do think one of the important aspects of leadership is understanding the moment that you're in the landscape. And we have a historic opportunity with President Trump now in the White House with a House majority, a Senate majority, to get this country back on track. And so I don't take that lightly. And so I think there's a sense of urgency about it now.
I'll tell you what else I like about you. I don't remember if I got involved in that race or if I got involved in support of one of your opponents or not, because I didn't know much about you, but you want to come on the show, you want to talk to the American people, it's a big audience, you want to convey your thoughts and so forth. So you sound to me like you're a very decent guy on top of being a principled conservative. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say. That matters to me. I mean, I still think that stuff matters. You fight the good fight, and when it's your time to do it, and then when it's done, you go back home and you do other things. But my family's important to me, my state's important to me, and our country's important to me, and the rule of law is important to me. I believe in our. I honestly, Mark, you talk about this. I've been a big fan of yours forever. My mom is a huge fan. If my mom's listening right now, she's probably going crazy that I'm on.
How you doing, Mom?
But look. Our country is so unique.
We love your son. He's a good man. That's true.
It's a unique opportunity. Like, we're the first country in the history of the world that said everybody had it wrong. Our rights don't come from a king or a queen. They come from God. Our Constitution protects those rights. We believe in free expression of ideas. We believe in the Second Amendment. That is unique. It's exceptional. It's exceptional, right? And so we got to fight for those things every single day. And so for me to have a chance to do it, whether it was Attorney General or now in the U.S. Senate, I view it as a real honor of a lifetime.
Well, you've been fantastic. We want to have you on more often. We want to thank you for everything you do. The country needs your help. And the battle's just begun because there's going to be a lot of people who sit on the other side of that aisle and their media friends. as well as a lot of people on the other side of the Capitol and the House who are going to want to sabotage Trump every step of the way. So
Yep.
we want to thank you, Eric Schmitt, and God bless you, and we very much look forward to having you back.
All right, Mark. I love it. We'll do it again.
Take care of yourself.